Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are tuned in to the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, and I am your host, Dawn Dai, here to get you excited about your life so that you can live life on purpose and for a purpose. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Vitamin D, it's a pun of my name. My name is Dawn, and you get vitamin D from the sun, so I'm here to shed light into your life. And I do this with inspirational insights and conversations with celebrities and everyday people like you and me. Because if you want to be better and you want to do better, then you're going to have to be able to see better. So join me on this journey of living our best lives and understanding and realizing how you are your greatest asset. I said it before, and I'll say it again. You got to decide what you want for your life. You have to make a decision. What do you want? What does it look like? What does it feel like? You know, it's so interesting. We get so caught up on what's being seen. And yes, sight is important, but we have to realize that the focus should be on the vision. I was thinking about it because I put up this post. Do you remember Mr. Bean? Remember the guy from way back in the day? He didn't use any words. He didn't say anything. Everything was mimed out, and he would find himself in just insane predicaments. Well, a recent post went viral, or I'm going to call it viral because it caught my attention. I had to repost it, of Mr. Bean. And he has this video camera. And let me go on my phone right now because I want to make sure that I say everything as the post is saying it. It says, on the meme part, it says, "This is how the universe conspires to help you when you know what you want." So here's Mr. Bean. He's crossing over signs, going over buses, cars, looking in his camcorder. And what we find out at the end, that meanwhile, the entire time he was going towards the ocean. See, if he had got caught up in the sight, he would have saw that he was walking off of the roof of a building. Oh my gosh, there's a bus going. Oh, I can't do that because it's moving. And then wait a minute, then now there's a car. Now I have to pass by these people. But I feel like in life, we have to make sure that our eye stays on the vision. And that's going to require you to speak some things into existence. Now, another thing I may have told you, you may have forgot, or you may not know. I have life tatted in my mouth. Yeah, you know, like the Wakanda. Well, mine says life because I speak life. And I was listening to the Clark sisters. Shout out to the Clark sisters from Detroit. What up, though? They'll be on the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. They have this song, Victory, and how you have to speak victory over your life, how you have to declare it over your life, how you can't get caught up what you do not see or caught up with your sight is not showing you or reflecting the vision. We declare victory. Victory over our life. What you want? Huh? See, I got this shirt on. It says the Groundlings. I love the Groundlings. Probably everything that you see right now is because of the Groundlings, in addition to the work I put forth, because the Groundlings has sort of underlined and put an exclamation point on the yes and in life. And getting to this point, I decided to say yes to Dawn. I said yes to Dawn in the dreams, and I put the and on it because I started to put the movement. See, we can caught up on who we be right now, but it's all about who we're becoming. And that's where the and. That's where the addition in the life happens. And I have to go back to ask you, what do you want for your life? What is the vision you have for your life? Without the vision, people will perish. See, when you know what you're going, when you know what you're doing, when you know what you want, there's no reason why you can't have it. So whenever you're feeling in dismay and you're not sure, I have to ask you one simple question. What do you want? That's it. Catch it.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.
Well, hello there. New hair. Who's this? How you doing, girl?
I am wonderful. How are you? New hair. I don't know how to act.
Well, I'm telling you, acting real good out here and looking good, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have another congratulations, a happy belated birthday.
Yes, I am a Leo. It's Leo season all season. You know how Leos are, we dominate the jungle. Yeah, so we think it's always our time. So yeah, but I just celebrated birthday not too long ago. Thank you.
Yes. And I'm an Aries, so we're kin because we got the fire sign and all that jazz.
Oh yeah. My fire sister. My mom is an Aries. So I know.
Yes, we talked about how Mama was coming through with your journey with acting. Yes. Also, the last time we spoke as well, you were engaged. Are you still engaged? Is there any new news?
Well, that's
okay, transition.
Wow. I was so unprepared for this question. I'll just tell the truth. There's nothing better than the truth. I am no longer engaged, but I wish him all the best. And I am so happy and I am dating. Okay. So fellas, if you're about that king life, if you're a king mentality, then, when you see me, say something.
Say something. I was sitting here and I was just thinking to myself, I appreciate the fact of the transparency because that's what Vitamin D with Dawn Day is all about. Sometimes we walk in a situation trying to put this little shade on what it could be, what it ain't. And it's like, it is what it is, that it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Right. So thank you for jumping in and starting it on the right foot. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, you want to find this like politically correct answer. But I was just like, let me just tell you the truth. There you go.
There it is. And now we speak in truth. You just released a film. Karen, it's in theaters right now.
Karen is in theaters right now. Karen is about a delusionally entitled Caucasian woman who thinks that she owns the neighborhood, and myself and my husband, played by the brilliant 𝘋𝘢𝘪, move into the neighborhood next door to her. And she is determined to chase us out of her neighborhood. Now, how she owns the whole neighborhood, I don't know. That's something she made up in her mind. But she doesn't want us there. And she goes on a mission to terrorize our lives to get us out of there. It really is art imitating real life, things that we see all the time happening on social media. So it's a very clever film. The way it's written, it's not a satire. The writer, director put a lot of thought into how he conveyed how someone could be a Karen and what that looks like up close and personal for a young Black couple every day, not just a little clip on social media, but imagine if this was your neighbor.
This is your life.
This is your life you're living. But so he wrote it in such a clever way that is really entertaining, but it's also conscious at the same time.
And here's the thing. Let me just keep it real with you. I'm from Detroit. We keep it real 100. I am extremely excited to check out the film. But a lot of people have been giving a side eye like, is this pushing Black trauma porn? Meaning, what's the purpose of it? Are we putting trauma in somebody's face? Like, what are we trying to get from this film?
Okay. How are we, the actors, the writer, director, producers, putting this trauma in your face? It is in your face every day. Hey. If we never made this movie, it would be in your face every day. This is the reality. We're not putting it in your face. We're just taking our art and creating an entertaining way to imitate real life for your entertainment. That's it.
And that's what art is. Art imitates life, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all. This movie is not a protest. It's entertainment. So if you can look at the clips on social media and laugh, why not be able to come sit and watch a movie and enjoy that entertainment? And then also, it's not, I just want people to enjoy the entertainment and not get so up in arms and think that we're doing something. Why do we even have this subject matter to make a movie about in the first place? Did we do that? No.
catch it. It's beautiful because it's just a thing of a reflection. Just the very moment of you coming on the podcast, and I'm like, girl, what's the new, the latest, greatest? And you say, hey, Dawn, it's a transition. It's not something that's rainbows and butterflies. It is what it is. So I guess for somebody out there that may feel conflicted as if there's some Black trauma porn, it's like, well, that's life. And it should make you uncomfortable because somebody is actually living that life.
Absolutely. And I would hope that people would use the frustration they feel about our movie that's just meant to entertain you and put that to good use in a very practical way that could actually help somebody who is an actual victim of this type of behavior in our society.
And we can get out there by voting.
We could vote. We could speak up when we say something. We can get together and we can create patrols, like community patrols. Like if you see something, say something. That's what we can do. Yeah, I see a lot of times people will go and find the Karen on Instagram. Like if somebody puts up a video, I'll see in the comments, people will say, find this person. Who is this person? Where do they work? You know, get active. Use your energy for creating real change in the world and not just poking at a movie.
And just like you said, like if we can share all the instances that happen on social media, sometimes I think people aren't really connected to the various versions of what it looks like in life. We can see somebody holding up a phone, but what happens to what that person feels like every day? And I feel like what you were saying, what your character Imani is doing in the film. So talk to me about her and just, you know, what made you transition or fall into that role?
Well, when I read the script, I immediately thought it was so clever. It did not come off like a gimmick at all. It read like a real emotional storyline that I followed through the end. And I was like, what's going to happen next? I didn't feel like I was reading a parody. It's a real heartfelt story. And my character Imani is young Black Queen Excellence. She's representing that. Every aspect of this character was really thought out, from the hair, wardrobe, her job, how she speaks to her husband, because this is a young Black couple buying their first home. So we're representing young Black excellence. We're
representing the people of the now, the people that are in this situation, that are becoming the vice presidents, who are buying the homes, who are heading into entrepreneurs, who are actually, the forefront of this transition of creating this life that expands to different areas and so forth.
Exactly. So the movie is more than just about this Karen character. It's about a young Black couple, what that looks like in our society today. They're married. They want to have children. They're having infertility problems. Wow. They're having issues because my character Imani is the breadwinner in the house. But that reflects our culture. Young Black women are going to college more. They're earning degrees at a higher rate. They're earning more money than ever. Young Black women, young women of color, having to step up into these roles in life. And that's what Imani is. And her husband doesn't earn as much as she does, but she loves him anyway. She loves him anyway. But that creates an insecurity in him. And now they're trying to get pregnant. And, you know, she's scared to get pregnant because she's like, oh, how are we really going to take care of this baby? Like, it's not just all roses and butterflies. Like, we have to earn money to take care of this child, pay a mortgage. This is our life. And like, how are we really going to do this? So it's about way more. And then throwing this young Black couple into a racist neighborhood. So on top of the things they already have to deal with in their own household, now they're having to deal with the projections of society. So the movie is, and it sounds very deep, but you're going to laugh quite a bit. It's not meant to be a comedy. But Coke Daniels, the writer, director, he has a history of writing comedies. So he couldn't help but sneak that in there. So,
but you know, I study improv over at the Groundlings, and you will be surprised of how similar when you look at comedy and horror or thriller, because they come in these different beats. And in many ways, while we don't have to call it a Black porn trauma, it is a trauma for some people. Like, even as you're talking about Imani right now, let's keep it real. Mm-hmm. All eyes are on you, Jasmine. Like, you representing all the females out there that's about their career, i.e., look at me, about my business, may be a viable situation where my partner may not make the funds as I. So did you feel, low key, I want you to be real with me.
Okay.
Did you feel an extra sense of pressure as if you could come off cooning in this movie? Like, you wanted to be sure not to say certain things and not to highlight so somebody can say, oh, I knew Black people did this. And it's like, hold up, sis.
Yes, 1,000%. I was very conscious on how I approached the Imani character, because there's nothing stereotypical about women of color in the first place. We're a rainbow of personalities.
Catch it.
We're a rainbow. So I was very conscious because we decided she would have dreadlocks. We decided she appreciates her African heritage. So in her dress, she wears African prints and African designers and, African handmade jewelry from villages, and everything is very intentional with her. She's very proud of her African heritage. And so the stereotype is we have to be this one thing, but we can celebrate our African heritage, be proud of it, and our beauty and our aesthetic. And then we can also go out and earn money, be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. We can tell you how it is if we feel in a certain way. And we can also speak to you about a business deal that we want to happen. So there's no one way to be. And I was very conscious of that in my approach on how I displayed her. I displayed a rainbow of emotions, and this is how we're so many beautiful components and not just one.
And looking at the trailer myself, I even saw the color of that, just the emotions. You're being happy you're here. Then when you're like, well, who was this neighbor? Wait. And then you're talking to the little girl and she's like, my mom doesn't like Black people. Then you're at the counter, you're crying. You're like, babe, I think it's time to leave. And then my panties got in a bunch. That's why I had to ask you the question about, did you feel that plight of cooning? Taryn, because I love Taryn. Taryn Manning, she's the one that plays Karen in the film.
Yes.
When she came up in there, I don't know where y'all at, she said, she's slaving in the kitchen. You tried it. And the thing that I'm like that was kind of like a quote unquote obvious kind of little pun, but it's like, you go in society and life often so many times, and you don't realize the low key slide jabs that people are saying. Mm-hmm. I was just saying to someone else, I don't think there was any malicious intent, because as I want to go on next to how it starts off probably from a parent. But I remember I was in high school, Catholic school, predominantly white, and I love my girls. So it's no shame. Yeah. But I remember I was going to have a graduation party, and one of the girls were like, oh my gosh, are you going to have fried chicken there? I probably was going to have fried chicken, but still, you don't say that. You know what I'm saying? See, we can laugh about that, but that was a moment.
It was a moment. You felt some kind of way in that moment. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That was a funny moment. That was total improv. And Taryn is brilliant in this role. She is nothing like a Karen. She's the furthest thing from it. It's so brilliant. It's so amazing. People who have an incredible gift of acting, they can really transform. She can really do that. She grew up with Black people as her cousins, because she married, someone in her family married somebody Black. And so from a very young age, her best friends, her cousins, what she identified as family, were Black people. So she, not a racist bone in her body, but she's a brilliant actress, and she transformed for this role. And she did a lot of improv moments like that. And all I could do is just look like, see, we acted. Okay, we acted. Right? Okay, we acted. All right. Mm-hmm. You got that, girl. was fun. It was fun playing with her. It was a lot of fun.
And, I got to give it to her too, because, I'm up here asking the plight that you must have felt or could have felt with having to carry the weight on your shoulder of just being this woman in this situation. But how many fingers are pointing on her? Because, there are some people that will act their ass off in a film and you start getting twisted like, I don't even like you. I don't know if you remember back in the day. Did you watch the film Lean On Me?
Yeah.
I could not stand that lady. She'd be like, Dr. Clark. And it was like, she was such in that character that I looked at her with a side eye. I'm sure, Taryn, no one's looking at you like that, but I commend her definitely for jumping in that role.
Oh, yes. I mean, she's an artist. Like, she's an artist through and through. You can see that in her body of work, the types of characters that she has taken on her entire career. Mm-hmm. She's a true artist. She transforms. She gives the project, the character, what it needs, and then she walks away and goes on with her life. I just wish people, when they see the movie, they can just appreciate her. If you get mad at her, she's done her job.
Hello, somebody catch it.
Hey, it's Timothy Snell, the man behind the curve.
Hey, what's happening, beautiful people? It's your boy Major, and you're tuned into Vitamin D with Dawn Dai.
So let me ask you, this is something that I think, and I want to shed light on this. Mm-hmm. Two things, or a fold of it. You're in a situation where you guys are moving into this community, right? Why do you feel for Imani? Why was it important for her to make the decision to move into a predominantly white area?
Oh,
and then
good
I got
question.
a second fold.
Good question. One, she didn't see it as a white neighborhood. When she did the research, she researched crime rates, school ratings, not what's the ratio of Black to white. She looked at things that were going to influence the quality of the environment that she lived in and her soon-to-be children would be raised in. I think everybody doesn't have a color. You want to live in a safe area. You want to live in an area where the school rating is excellent. You want to have amenities to shopping and stores and restaurants. So she didn't look at it that way.
Okay, so then once she got into the neighborhood, okay, so she up there riding around again, and not really, but establishing her family and home. Once she found out that this Karen lady was a racist, why didn't she get the hell up out of Dodge? What was she trying to prove to stay there? And is there a need that you feel? Like oftentimes, I don't want to just say Black people, do you feel there's a need to try to integrate a moment to whether it be up level? Like, why was it a sense of a need to stay?
Well, there's this thing in life called the bigger person. And are you going to run from all your problems or are you going to face them?
Catch it.
Right. So when you buy a house, just, oh my gosh, up and selling it, first of all, is not that easy as people think it is. It's not like, if it's hard for people to get out of rental contracts, imagine how hard it is to get out of
a mortgage
contract that you signed with a whole bank and money that you've invested. So it's not that easy. Once you plant your feet somewhere and you buy a home, you realize, oh my gosh, my neighbors are this. Okay. So the first thought is, okay, maybe they don't understand us. Maybe let me go show them who we are. Maybe
always
if they
trying to show up. Mm-hmm.
Let me just go introduce myself, create some harmony, and see if it will be received. And the thought is always, it will be received. But in this case, it wasn't. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, you first of all, you can't control other people, what they do, how they react. You just can't control that, period, in life. But maybe sometimes you think you can add some harmony to the sauce. And that's what Imani tried to do at first.
So then after she got wind, like, oh, it's time to go, or anybody, like, does there come to a point where you ask yourself, well, what am I fighting for? Like, why am I putting myself through this? To prove what? To whom and what for? Like, why not just leave for the sake of your peace of mind?
Well, okay, I'll answer for Imani, right? I'll answer for Imani. Imani wasn't trying to prove anything to Karen. She just wanted to stake her ground. Like, she's a proud woman. She feels, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. Why am I going to run? I have just as much right to be in a decent area and neighborhood as you do. Your attitude, your racism is not going to make me go run. My ancestors paid that price. I'm going to stay. You deal.
You know what you remind me of? I tell Jeremiah this all the time. I say, how you do anything is how you'll do everything. So if you get into this whole habit of flexing this muscle, that something arises that you don't like, and you want to run away, or you want to stop, it's going to show up in every aspect of your life. And like you said, you the one got the problem with me. I'm signing up to live my life. And I guess that's what I like to talk about in the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. It's about living your best life because you are your greatest asset. So you have to take in a point where you stand in your own truth. And like you said, Imani she's a proud African-American, we can say Black woman of color who stands in her truth, who's holding her ground. And it's like, why should I fall because you blowing some wind at me?
Yeah, that's not how we're going to do this. No. And then in her mind, she never thought it would escalate to, the lady then trying to murder her and her family. Oh.
Spoiler alert. What?
Oh, you gotta see how the story unfolds.
Oh my God. Okay. So then let's talk this here. We look at these kind of films, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always able to really see an adult, like say if someone's homeless on the street, I'm always looking at them. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was somebody's baby, right? But see, when you see these big people that may not be so nice, at some point they were somebody's baby. And looking at the trailer and seeing you talking, what's the young girl's name? The daughter? The little girl in the film.
She did a really great job. Children actors they're amazing.
She said, I thought it was so interesting that what she said, she was like, my mother, doesn't like Black people. And there was this image that I saw on Instagram. And in the image, there's this two kids and they're looking at each other and they're spewing hateful words. Or you can see one kid is hurt and the other one's like, ugh. And behind is a parent. And how they depicted the parent was the mother. She has her arms folded, but what happened is that you can see the tongue coming out of her mouth and going into the back of the head out of the little kid because they've gotten it from somewhere. And it's like, even shedding light when you see how somebody's baby that grew up to this person of just how this stuff like transforms and passes down to people.
Oh, absolutely. Children are born into this world innocent. We're all born into this world innocent. It's learned behaviors that make people form their identities. And unfortunately, sometimes we're around unhealthy environments that help shape our identity. Mm-hmm. But, children are very intelligent as well. They can feel if it's not right because their natural inclination is to just love everybody. So if you're saying don't love Bobby because he's brown, it's like, but that's my friend.
And whoever knows, they may actually feel like they're identical twins, because they're not looking at whatever you see.
They may feel one and the same. They're just that innocent. And so, which we all are. So, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
So have you pulled any real life experience into this film? Like, have you ran into a Karen before and what happened?
I've definitely encountered racism before. It's very in the moment, you read people's reactions online and they're like, oh, if that was me, I would have done this. I would have done that. When you're in the moment, sometimes it's shocking. Like, did I just hear what I heard? Or did that person just say, did I just experience what I just experienced? It feels like an out of body experience. And for me in those times, I've really frozen in the moment, like shocked, not knowing what to do with the emotions that I feel. I know it is not right. It's hurtful. It's painful. I don't deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the ugliness of people sometimes.
This is a dark shadow because you can't see through it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not clear. It doesn't make you feel safe. It doesn't make you feel good. It's just, so, I guess looking at this film, or actually you portraying it, anyone watching it, what kind of advice would you have somebody that's going into a space where they are the minority? Just like how you were with your family. Is there something, should you be on guard? Like, that's a shame that you have to move on defense. Like,
stepping into a situation, like, first of all, don't be on defense. That's what I would say. Like, don't go into it on defense. Just show up as your best self and do your best. And that's all you can control. If you encounter someone who is just hateful and spewing ugliness, don't match that energy, because now you're no better than that person. Mm-hmm. You're no better. Of course, self-defense is a whole other thing. If you feel harmed, somebody is threatening your life, your safety. But when it just comes to encountering ugly energy and hateful words, just don't touch me.
Right. I say, Jeremiah, no, I'm real quick. Girl, I'll be in the salt bath so quick, my candle and my incense. Who stop playing? Cleansing myself. But I'm wondering too, like, do you feel like there's a need to enter spaces where you're the minority, or do you walk into a space and create it yourself? And what I mean by that is, say for Imani, you guys were looking for an area that you could raise your family with a low crime rate, rather than, okay, let's find an area that may be, let's just say, closer to the community and infiltrate the money there. Because, there was a point, and I'm just saying, just to talk race, because that's what this film is about. Mm. There was a point where we were not allowed to integrate into other communities, whether it be a bank, whether it be a school. And we were prosperous because just like other communities, and you may hear with the Jewish community, the Asian community, they circle their money within. But for some reason, and I think that's just the deepness, I guess, what comes with racial inequality, injustice, and all that. The psychological part of it is that we feel like we're at a better position or a better moment by going somewhere else to spend money, rather than just keeping money in house and then stacking up from there.
Well, I thought about that too. And I really think it's just about wanting to be around like-minded people, not necessarily people that have your same skin color, but like-minded people, like people who want to take care of their community. They take pride in where they live. They care about cleaning up the streets, even if it's not their street. Like, oh, let's get together and let's, clean up everything, or, let's get together as a community and let's do things together. Let's look out for each other. That's not I don't think it's a color thing. I think it is more prevalent in other neighborhoods.
Because we got things to worry about. While you talking about everybody get together and sweep, I don't know if my baby gonna make it home. Hey, I'm trying to get to the bus to get off this job, and there's food desert, so I don't even have a grocery store that I can get something to eat at to do what I need to do. Hypothetically.
Yeah. But here's the thing, like, if everyone is on that wavelength in the community, watch the changes that happen in that community.
But Jasmine, how do we get on that wavelength when my trauma is trying to figure out how I'm going to provide food? See, what happened was with your family, not your family, but this other party, both of your parents were educated. They had a job, right? Say they went to school, right? So that job that they look like, you're bringing in a different income. And I'm not saying you can't up level, but it's just different things that are at stake. So what we're talking about sweeping outside, I just got off a 12-hour shift. I'm trying to figure out how I'm about to catch the bus. And you asking me, do I want to sweep outside? I think to me, it seems like different things on the table of the weight. But doesn't mean, and different things are top of mind for survival based on what you got to look at.
Yeah, I mean, people of color, Black people specifically in our communities, have been in survival mode for so long.
Yeah.
Hello, it's your girl, supermodel Miss Lyris Cross, representing all my curvy girls out there.
Hey, what's up? It's me, Deja Vu, and you are tuned into Vitamin D with Dawn Dai.
We have to turn that tide. And I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that I don't know why other communities, because I remember when I was buying my first house, and I was driving around looking for somewhere. I wanted to buy in a gentrifying area because I saw how the community was turning. You could literally drive down a street in a gentrifying area and see the progression. You could see, it hasn't started down on this side yet. Oh, it has started on this side. Okay, it's going to work its way down and then eventually to the next block and the next block. I don't know why when other people move in a neighborhood, they give a damn about how it looks. I don't know. I don't know why people have to come in and gentrify our communities. Why aren't we making sure our communities look clean, decent? All the yards are cut. There's no mattresses and I don't know, whatever. And I grew up in these neighborhoods. So I'm talking about my own cousins. I'm talking about my own uncles. I'm not talking about nobody but the people I grew up with. Okay. First of all. So, but I grew up seeing this. And then I would go to my friends' houses in the neighborhoods around the corner. And it wasn't like that. Nobody is making us live like that. Nobody is making us live like that. Nobody is saying, okay, you have to put that mattress out there in the front. You have to put that mattress there. You have to stack the TV on top. You got to have the car broken down that's been broken down for 20 years, sitting there rusted and just decrepit and just bringing down your property value. Yeah, you have to do that. Nobody's doing that. We have to improve for our own selves. We have to take pride in where we live, not because anybody's making us do it, but because that's where I live. This is my house. When I drive up every day, I want to see a beautiful lawn. I get out there every Saturday and put the mulch down or water the plant or, I sweep everything. Like I do that for me because I care. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
Well,
I know I'm just trying to do my best.
What you said. Because I think it comes down to, and about vitamin D, how you are your greatest asset in loving on yourself. And how much do you love yourself? And if you look at it in anything that you do, how you do anything is how you'll do everything. So if you take a pride and sense of yourself. But here's the thing, Jasmine. If we were to look at, I'm only going to speak for Black people or African-American people. The very thing that we had pride of our identity, when you know who you are, you know whose you are, that was stripped away. So perhaps that is a ripple down effect because why would I care? Like, I can't even find who I am in a sense that has been ripped down psychologically in ways that I think that I may know, but I don't. And not really understanding the value of just keeping yourself looking good. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, just transparency. You can get comfortable with being single too long. And I'm just going to run to the store. No, you got to take care of yourself. Put a little oomph to yourself. Because now when you see how you address yourself, people will address you likewise. People are going to want to go in that neighborhood. People are going to want to send their children there. But if you're not caring, why should anybody else?
Why should anybody else? It becomes a personal responsibility. It really does. It becomes a personal responsibility. And we know our history. We know the struggles that we live in. We know the poverty we grow up in. We know the disadvantages we have. But then there comes this time where we have to say, for our own selves, for our own lineage line, okay, I'm going to do something different. You don't have to change the whole neighborhood. Everybody is not your responsibility. You're your responsibility. If you have children, they're your responsibility. And that's even to a certain extent, honestly, but that's another conversation. But because you can't necessarily control how your kids turn out in life. And this is something I've been examining with me and my mom. It's interesting through some family therapy sessions, but it gets to a certain point where I can examine my childhood trauma to source the pain and see the pattern. But then there comes a personal responsibility for me where I have to say, okay, I have to do something different now. Okay, I know I went through that. It was painful. It affected me. I see how it has affected me in these ways in my life now, but I got to do something different. My mom, make a decision. It's either you're going to do it or you're not. It's really no gray area. It's no gray area in life. It really is. You is or you ain't. And my mom, I can look at some things and I can say, okay, well, I wish my mom would have been a little bit more nurturing. My mom was in survival mode. She didn't have the luxury. Nurturing your children's emotional health is a luxury.
Wow.
And if you're in survival mode, you simply do not have that luxury. So now it's like, well, I can't blame my mom on that. Now I'm aware. I have to make a conscious decision to do something different. So that's why I say even your parents, even for your children, you're only responsible to a certain extent. Because as a parent, you're a human being too. You have your own life track. Your children are part of it, but they're not all of it. And that is the truth. You have your own development. And if you weren't able to finish developing for whatever reasons, traumas in your life that you never got a chance to address, it is going to stay with you and affect you and spill over in different ways. And so then your children get to a point in their life where they have to say, okay, but what am I going to do different now? I don't know how I got off of that.
No, that was beautiful. I'm sitting here. I was like, first, I'm up here looking. I'm like, did she study psychology or something like that? I'm looking at the card. I'm like, it says theater and business. But I'm smiling because it's always a joy, even from the last time I talked to you. It's like, I would love to do maybe a couple of months, a quarterly special, or just having a conversation because I really appreciate your thought process and approaching things and even talking about the fact of, I was just talking to someone about how they met a different mother than the mother that their siblings had. And it was based on the dynamic of the upbringing, and mom had to provide. So unfortunately, we lost Jasmine, but I do hope that you guys check out the film Karen. It is something that a lot of people were sitting on the fence of whether or not it's going to be a lot of Black trauma porn. But I think more importantly, it's all about shedding light what's going on. I love me some Jasmine. So check out the film Karen. It's starring Taryn Manning as the character Karen, and then Corey Hardrick, that's Tia Mowry's husband. And then we also have our very own Jasmine Burke, who is Imani, the wife of Corey Hardrick, who plays Malik in the film. I'm dying to check it out. Not really. I'm living to check it out because I want to be here tomorrow. But I also want to encourage you to make sure that you live on purpose and for purpose. Because when we talk about, infiltrating these areas and these neighborhoods, oftentimes people are quick to flee away because not knowing their value or worth. And I feel like Jasmine made a great point about that. Like, understanding the importance of when you're looking into a neighborhood and being there, you want to look at it for opportunity. You want to be there for like-minded people. And if that's the case, you don't let anyone push you out. And it's a great depiction of what it looks like to try to balance life and the circumstances that come with life. So it shall be interesting how this unfolds. Haven't checked it out yet, but if you have, hit me up and let me know what you feel about it. Tell me how you felt Jasmine did. And you even hit up Jasmine. But hey, when you find me on there, check me out on social media at Dawn Dai Speaks, okay? And then let me see. I have Jasmine's social media as well. You can check her out at the Jasmine Burke. I wanted to tell you guys what's coming up next, but follow her and you'll keep up with that. Also, it's time to do some housekeeping. I want to remind you that if you would like to be a guest on the show, make sure you send an email. VitaminD at Dawn Dai Speaks, okay? Also, we have our advice letters, and now we have infiltrated the quickies, the condensed version of the advice letters. Well, you can also email those to VitaminD at DawnDaiSpeaks.com, okay? Hey, you can even slide in my DM because it goes down in the DM. Let me stop. All right, cool. Check out Vitamin D on the YouTube page, Dawn Dai Speaks. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, if you're listening to me right now, I take it you did because you're still here. And if you've enjoyed me or the brand before that, tell somebody else to check out the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. And it's available wherever you get your favorite podcast. I mean, literally on every podcast platform. We're building, we're growing, and I want to thank you for being a part of my dreams. I told you, I'm in the business of making dreams come true. And I damn sure ain't gonna forget about mine. So until next time, I want you to always remember that you are your greatest asset. Coming up next on the Vitamin D with Dawn Day podcast, I talked to Arturo Prieto, a man who has died 4 times. Tune in to hear about what he saw when he died and answer some of your questions.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited